Music licensing reimagined.
Hey everybody, come on. And that was a little groovy, wasn't it? Come on in. It is Monday reset. We just got through doing the coaching hub on Coach Karen Oliver, my first YouTube channel, and we just got through doing the coaching hub on TikTok. We will be going live more on TikTok. We will be doing more content there as well as coaching things there. But now we are live from the Labor and Love Mission YouTube channel and my LinkedIn channel. And today is Monday, and we know that Monday is not over yet. So we are going to be talking about the power to choose our words. And I'm glad that we did the coaching hub on TikTok first because our weekly reset word came from that conversation on this evening. So thank you to all my followers. Thank you all for subscribing, sharing, and liking and sharing the content. Thank you so much. We know that we need that word, that motivation, that inspiration to reset on this week. Um, Hope you guys are doing well. Just gonna give you guys a little time to come in. I know a lot of us are busy doing different things. That is okay. I will keep this video up, and you guys can watch the replay. The Monday reset word for today is, as I had shared a few minutes ago, is you have the power to choose. You have the power to choose your words. You have the power to turn a negative into a positive. And I shared a little bit of my testimony. I shared um, the effects of my day on today, on how I had to turn a negative into a positive on today, even in the workplace. And it's so important because a lot of times, as human beings, we want to defend ourselves. I'm going to just say that. A lot of times we want to defend ourselves. We've got to make sure that we explain. We want to make sure that, you know, we tell our point of view or get our point of view across. And sometimes, you know what, that's okay. But then sometimes a light bulb comes on and we got to be like, wait a minute. I don't have to do so much explaining. I don't have to do so much pointing into this because I don't have to receive everything. That's something that was told to me a long time ago. You don't have to take on everything and you don't have to receive everything, especially receiving what's not meant for you, especially receiving negative, especially if you know who you are and you know you're trying to do the right thing. Um, a lot of times we receive confrontation. I'm gonna just say that a lot of time we receive that because we like to go back and forth. And when you go back and forth, if you're having a conversation or you come into a confrontation, or it could just be something that you just don't agree on. You could be talking about two people can be talking about each other's opinions, and you may not agree on, and you feel like you got to get that last word in, or you feel like you've got to explain yourself or assure to this person that, hey, um, I'm telling the truth. I'm really telling the truth. This is the thing. You have to know who you are. Secondly, you don't have to keep playing the game. You all heard the game before. You don't have to keep playing the tick for tack game. Tick for tack, tick for tack. It's like, hey, I'm gonna get my point across, and then the other person's like, yeah, let me get my point across. This is what I think, and you're like, no, this is what I think, and then it turns into a negative. And so that's just some of a little bit of um, what happened with me even in the workplace on today. Even though I started off wrong this morning, guess what? I had the power to choose. How am I going to have a peaceful day? How am I going to turn this negative into a positive? And that's what I did. I made sure that, wait a minute, I know what I can do, I know what I've done, I know what I've said. I know that I'm doing things to the best of my ability, so I don't have to get worked up and I don't have to receive what's coming at me. But I can change that and I can calm my spirit. I can calm myself down and be like, hey, let's just listen, let's just talk. And so before we get routed up and before we start making up assumptions or anything like that. And even if, something or someone or a situation, you, let's say you just didn't even have anything to do with it, or you didn't have anything negative to say about it. The thing about it is that you have the power to choose your words. That's your reset word for today. You have the power to choose your words. You have the power to change the negative into a positive. You have the power to change how the course of your day is going to go, how the course of your day is going to be. How can I not add fuel to this situation? I know that makes sense to you guys. How can I not add fuel to the situation? What are some things that I can do to cut off this conversation, because this conversation is not going anywhere, or this situation is not going anywhere. It's a negative. So guess what? I got to cut the negative off, and I've got to make sure I turn this into a positive. How can I move from that negative situation? Those are some of the things those are the things that we have to think about. Those are the things that we have to understand. We've got to learn how to pivot. We've got to learn that we have to be careful with our words and with our actions and how we say things, how we do things. And as human beings, I understand, we've been there. And again, like I said in the beginning, we want to explain and we want to get our point across. But sometimes, as long as you know that you've done what's right, as long as you know you said what's right, as long as you know in your heart of hearts, okay, wait a minute, I did handle this situation correctly. Um, and it's not going anywhere. You still want to make sure that you don't want to add fuel to the situation. You don't want to add fuel to the conversation. And so we have to learn that daily. I know it's not an easy thing, but we have to learn that daily that we can't, you know, we can't add fuel to the fire, and we can't play tick for tag, definitely. And we can't, sometimes we do too much explaining to where it gets messy. It can get messy, especially when you are trying to um, have a confrontation or a conversation, or trying to meddle a situation with a negative. If you come back with a response that's negative because they said something negative, it's going to come out to be a negative. Nothing is going to be positive there. And so we have to make sure that we're choosing our words wisely. Excuse me, you guys. We want to make sure that, we are removing ourselves, because sometimes we got to remove ourselves from the situation. We got to remove ourselves from the situation. Sometimes we got to remove ourselves from the conversation. If we don't, guess what? It's always going to be a negative, and it's going to always be a negative. So sometimes we have to remove ourselves from the situation. We have to remove ourselves from a conversation, and we've got to cut off the negative, and we got to be like, okay, what are some things that I need to do? I need to be the wiser one. I need to make sure that I'm showing integrity. I need to make sure that I'm being mature. And how can I change this? How can this turn into a positive? How can I make the rest of my day peaceful. And that is something that that's something that I had to do. I had to use these same strategies for myself. But I couldn't do it alone by myself, you guys, because guess what? I had peers and counsel in my life who shared with me, you got to make sure that you don't feed into the negative. I had people that were actually pouring into me on today to make sure that I handle things in the correct way. And although, this morning I was like, wow, my head was all over the place and I was upset, but I was peaceful later on. I began to calm myself down and be like, wait a minute, let me maneuver this situation a different way. Let me maneuver the situation in a positive way. And that's what I had to do. And I know a lot of times we don't do that. But it's not too late to change that. And so we have the power to choose how our day is going to go, our week is going to go. So on this Monday reset, on this weekly reset, Monday on today, for the rest of the week, I want you to choose how you're going to react, how you're going to conversate, how you're going to go about your day, whether that's in the workplace, whether that's in your professional business, whether that's in your home with your family. You could be talking to people around you, family, peers, friends, your husband, your wife. How can you change? How can you maneuver that conversation? How can you shift that conversation into a delightful conversation? How can you shift that situation into a peaceful situation? Because there are just some things that we're going to have to do. And even though it may be tough for some of us, depending on what situation you've been through, depends on what situation you've been in, you have you have to be the bigger and better person. You have to be the wiser person. And you have to understand this. Wait a minute. If I show peace, if I show gratitude, if I show integrity, if I show empathy, if I show compassion, and then guess what? The rest of my day is going to be peaceful. The rest of my day is going to be planned accordingly to how I see it and to how I want the people around me and to be and how I want my environment to be. Because you choose the environment that you live in as well. You want to make sure that you're not giving off that ugly energy per se. You want to make sure you're not giving off that bad energy. You want to make sure you're not giving off any bad vibes, regardless of what anybody says or does. It's about you taking accountability, and it's about you showing up with a smile on your face, with integrity, showing up with compassion, showing up with integrity. I'm showing up with a mindset of, hey, I'm going to put on my wisdom hat today. I'm going to be wise. I'm going to be the bigger and better person today. And sometimes it's not always easy when things are coming at you. But at the end, you will know that it's worth it because you had the power to choose whether you wanted to go positive, whether you wanted to go right, or do you want it to go negative, and do you want it to go left. Excuse me, guys, my voice, I'm hoarse. But we have to choose our words wisely, and we have to make sure that we're choosing our day um, to the best of its ability. We've got to make sure that we are doing the right things. As I said before, when I shared the live on TikTok, we're not dotting every I, and we're not crossing every T either. But we can be better, and we can learn, and we can grow from within. We can grow day by day. And it, I mean, it's just easier because it makes your life easier and it makes your life more peaceful. And then someone could come along and be like, oh, I don't have to get upset. I don't have to get loud, or I don't have to um, try to say 100 words to speak my opinion or get my point across. All I have to do is follow wisdom and make sure I show integrity. Make sure I'm at peace with who I am and what I say, and make sure I'm at peace with what I do. And those things are going to gradually change. Those things are going to finally work out for you. So, in a nutshell, choose your words wisely, because, as I was saying too earlier on TikTok, is that our tongue has power, and life and death is in our tongue, and that's a biblical spiritual word, that is in the Word of God, and that's true in the natural as well. We have to watch what we say and how we say it, and we got to make sure that we think. We got to make sure we think before we act. We got to make sure that we get facts before we act, and before we just start acting out on what's not true, what's not factual. So we got to be mindful of that. Um, but that is your Monday reset word on today. Thank you guys for tuning in. For those of you who would catch the replay, thank you so much for catching the replay. If you're on, feel free to comment. Feel free to share this live out with someone else. I'm sorry, I do sound like a little frog. The weather is changing, so my sinuses are definitely acting up. So I'm trying to drink as much as tea, make sure I build my immune system up. But thank you for tuning in. I wanted to share, like I shared on my TikTok family, that we will be going live with some of our coaches. We will be having like open session coaching talks and stuff like that. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or Thursday at 6:30 or 7 p.m., but I'll definitely notify everyone before we go live. Last week we went live on Instagram on last Wednesday. Oh no, I think it was last Tuesday. That's still available on my Instagram channel. But we will be going on different platforms, and we will be having live open coaching sessions, and that's going to give people the opportunity to sign up live if they want to. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. But thank you to everybody who tuned in and those who will tune in later. I'm going to continue to drink my tea and take care of this voice. And I will see you all either tomorrow or on Wednesday, Wisdom Live. So, everybody, have a great night.